Y'all know how thunder is.
Yes, sir.
Every time it thunders, my baby begin to run to her daddy. I know she's 14 years old, but when the storm started hitting, don't you push her. When the storm began to fester, she runs to her daddy. And so I can imagine that at that particular time, the rain began to fall. She didn't come down heavy at first, but it began to drop in little drops. And as the minutes began to go on, the rain began to fall a little bit heavy. And the disciples began to look in the sky, and the sky began to get dark. And I know the disciples said, Lord, why in the world you send us out here? But here's what I want you to understand. Take a look at this. Even in the midst of all of this going on, Jesus is nowhere with his disciples. The Bible declares that he sent his disciples away so he can have some me time. And watch this, he sent them away at about 6 o'clock in the evening. And these guys are sailing, but Jesus did not show up until about 3 o'clock in the morning.
All right, sir.
I heard the old folks used to say that he may not come in the morning, but he's on time. And so from 6 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the morning, Jesus is somewhere on the mountain praying. And he's talking to his father and telling his father, I need to get my thoughts together because I know that I got a work to do.
Yes, sir.
And while he's praying, the disciples is out on the ocean and they're in the midst of this storm that Jesus sent them into. And I can imagine the disciples begin to say, Lord, why? Some of them, Bishop, probably looked at each other and said, how in the world this man can show us in the middle of the storm? And in this storm, he's not here with us. See, every other situation, Bishop, Jesus was right there in the midst of it. But there comes a time when God got to put you out there by yourself. And when the storms start rising, he want to see what you going to do. Can I go a big deal? Can I preach this thing like I feel it? See, the disciples, they were out there, and Jesus, he's on the shore. He's looking at the boat tossed and turned. And at some point in time, Jesus says, I got to go to my boys now. They've been in the middle of this situation for a little too long. And the Bible said that Jesus began to step off the shore. But it didn't stop there. Watch this, mother. When Jesus began to put his foot off the shore, the Bible said the water said, hold up. Y'all see that? The Bible says, hold up, wait a minute. I need somebody, brother. They said, I see the foot of my master. And can I take for a minute, mother? The waves began to talk to the waves. And one wave began to tell the other wave, we got to congeal ourselves. In other words, we got to pull ourselves together because I sense the feet of my master. And the waves begin to form up. And one wave say, you become this bridge. And I'll become this part of the bridge. And the other wave say, you become this part of the bridge. And the other wave say, you become this part of the bridge. And so Jesus stepped out of the on the shore, off the shore, into the water, and he looked in the waves, and he said, you know who created you. I feel some pushing me. So, ain't it like Jesus who he can define his creation whenever he gets ready? And he said, now I'm glad that you have made this bridge for me. So the Bible declares that he started walking. He started teeter-tottering across the water. And he walked and he walked and he walked. But I want you to know something, that Jesus, he's still walking, Papa. The storm is still raging. But Jesus was not affected by the storm. He hadn't defied the storm yet, but he had defied the water. And so Jesus walked to his disciples. And the Bible declares that when Jesus got to his disciples, the disciples got scared. Yeah. So can I tell you something? The disciples started to scream and holler. But Jesus knew this one thing. He said, I know that there's one of you in the midst that has this ship mentality. And the other ones were screaming and hollering, but I know Peter was in the middle of that boat. But the boat did not limit Peter's thinking. Because when they started to cry out, Jesus said, don't you be afraid, for it is I. Now, you got to remember that the disciples, they had been walking with Jesus for a long time. And I'm pretty sure that they knew the voice of Jesus. But the one that thought outside of the boat said, if it's you, Jesus, I want you to bid me to come. Now, Peter knew the voice of Jesus, but there's something about when I love you. Just hearing your voice ain't enough. I want to hold you. I long. So the Bible declares that this man who was in the boat with the rest of the comforters, this ship mentality kicked in, and he said, I'll step out of the boat. And he began to walk to Jesus, and the Bible declares that he began to sink down in the water. Now, I know the disciples was looking at him and they said, you know, Peter, we had a good time together, but it looks like you're going down for the last time. But ain't it all right that Jesus, when people look at you and say you're going down for the last time, Jesus, he's right there. I know you want to criticize Peter for being doubtful, but over the many years of my life, I've learned not to be judgmental. I've learned not to think about certain things and certain situations. The Bible declares that when Peter went down in the water, he says, Father, save me. And he stretched his hand forth to you. Can I tell you what the old saints would say, mother? They would say, Father, I stretch my hand to thee. No other help I know. If you withdraw the shepherd me, God, wherever shall I go? And so when Peter began to stretch his hand, they tell me that the hand of Jesus and pulled him up. God have mercy. When you was there, I know Peter said, from the water he lifted me, and I'm saved. And I get a witness in the place. And I take y'all somewhere else. See, I want you to see this. I want you to see this. Yeah, I feel my help, but Holy Ghost, let me give him this, Holy Ghost. Let me give him this. See, I told you in the beginning that God strategizes and he puts these two kind of mentalities together. See, if Peter had not been in the boat, then the other disciples would not have seen what happened to Peter. What are you saying, Elder Spence? Sometimes God creates situations where he has these two kind of people in a situation. And the one that has a boat mentality, she's the one who has a ship mentality. And the ship mentality impacts the boat mentality. And the boat mentality says, oh Lord, if he's able to do it for you, if he's able. He's able to do it for me. And sometimes life is shown God has to put people together with the boat mentality and the ship mentality, so that the people who have the boat mentality can see the people with the ship mentality. And all you have is growth going on. I know the church is moving, Bishop. I know the church is going to the destination. But I want you to slap your neighbor with a high five and say, neighbor, where are we going? It requires growth. Somebody got growth in this place. Army for about 17 and a half years, and over the course of the years, the Army had a slogan that says that they're looking for a few good men. Well, I'm here to tell you that God is looking for a few good men and women. He's looking for somebody who has a boat mentality. And he's looking for somebody who has a ship mentality. But this is what he says. I need you to be hot or cold. Because if you're hot, you'll keep on moving. And if you're cold, then I can warm you up. So he's looking for somebody who don't mind moving. I'm about to slow this thing down.